The tech team has met and we've formally decided on the TV we'd like to buy and how to get people. And like the total bills are 2,000, I think, or maybe 220. Now what do we do? Do we have to fill out a purchase order? Is there that's fine.
Great grandson. Really noisy sometimes. Next is going to be the weekend, so next if you want to look at a phone, put your legs out. We're going to go in front of you. We have to pin him up. Yes, I know you want to go in the back, but the carousel, when you go
I was thinking about that. Online. I have no idea what that is. Oh, is it?
So don't be worried about using it.
Yeah, it's on my card. Now, do we get like a 503 tax-free? No, I mean it's like an organization's ever before they just had a piece of paper that I would take and give to the merchant. Alright, well let's look at that and see how much that's
I'm trying to hold on to this one. Both, how are you? We used to, when we used them all the time, we would just be sure to have them in our house. I know. You know, I mean the choir.
Well, I also gonna have included in that is we're gonna provide the hanging bracket. Yes, well then somebody will have to. Right, yeah, we'll have to set that.
I got the sides.
And I'll do no, I think somebody should need Okay, thank you.
Well, the best thing is
welcome everybody to our Sunday service for February 15th, 2026. This is the face I make when I learn that I don't have a board member to do the welcome. So what I would like to do is remember the best I can to share with you that we are a welcoming congregation. We have services every Sunday. And if there is anybody visiting for the first time or you have a guest with you that you would like to introduce, please pipe up. I'll just shy hearts. All right. Well, can someone tell me if there's a piece missing from the welcome that I really need to just say that I haven't.
There's a script from the
There's a script from the pulpit. See, you can read it. Oh, I am not the board president. Mo is the board president and is currently on an outing, and will be back next week. Come, whoever you are, holding various beliefs, whatever your skin color, whatever your age or gender identity, whatever your abilities, your size, whomever you love, you are welcome here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Statesboro. You are welcome to this, our religious home. I extend a warm welcome to our visitors and guests. Blah, blah, blah. We already did that part. We hope you will give us contact information if you have not already, so that we can stay in touch with you. For the month of February, half of our Share the Plate offering that is not designated as pledge will go to BLUE, which is Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. And thank you for sharing your resources during our offertory later in the service. Now, I invite you to join me in reciting our congregational affirmation, which is up here on the screen. Please join with me. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Our worship leader this morning is Reverend Samara Powers. Please join me in giving them a warm welcome. Thank you, me. Okay. Today's worship is a bit different. Please bear with me, bear with each other. This is an experiment. I am an experimental person. If it doesn't work, we will note what doesn't work and change. If we like something new, we will be sure to tell the board and the programming committee, tell each other what you liked and what you didn't like. As with everything, all participation is invitational, not required. That being said, we have something new to offer our folks online. Thank you for getting a nod from John that the link has been shared in the chat. There is an experimental Zoom room open for you folks online if you would like, because there will be some interactive parts of the service that will be really boring to watch, but hopefully you can participate in if you have some friends online with you that will be willing to join this Zoom room. It is not even like a beta test. You're basically alpha testing this because we can't offer you any tech support. But if you're game, follow the tinyurl.com/UUFS-online-fellowship, which will take you to a Zoom room, and hopefully you'll be able to speak with each other there. Does anybody have any questions? Who has buckled your seatbelt? May I have a volunteer to come up and light the chalice as we speak our chalice lighting words, which are new, but I would still like us to say them all together. And so I've tried to make it as accessible as possible on the screen here. If nobody comes up to light it, I will light it when we're done. Please rise and body your spirit as we light our chalice and say our chalice lighting words together. With humility and courage born of our history, we are called as Unitarian Universalists to build a beloved community, where all souls are welcome as blessings, and the family is whole and reconciled. Y'all got it right. With this vision in our hearts and minds, we light our chalice. Our chalice response will be new as well. We are going to sing hymn number 1021 in your teal hymnal. Lean on Me, words and music by Bill Withers, recording by the Minnesota Valley Youth Fellowship, which we will hopefully sing along to. Number 1021. Yes, we'll need rainbow sticks. You can share with your neighbor if you need to. Our story for all ages is called One Day in June, and Katie is going to come up and read for our youth. Come up if you would like to see the pictures. That's right, yours. Okay, One Day in June. Look at us out here, happy as can be, endless joy as far as the eye can see. Marcia sure loves this scene. Do you know about Marcia? Close your eyes and picture her. My friend, Marcia P. Johnson, radiance, a whirlwind of love. She adored people in all their many shapes. You see the packages we come in? The way we are exactly ourselves, no more, no less? That's because of Marcia. Marcia was more than an activist. She was more than a performer or a disco dancer. She loved people just as they were, and she had a good time doing it. Marcia knew that's how we would change the world. Back in Marcia's day, Times Square was a hustle-bustle place. Grit and grime, shimmer and shine. It could be a good time, but it wasn't always. St. Marcia called Times Square her living room. She took care of her best friends. They found a way to be fabulous and thrive together. They could laugh at just about anything. Sometimes you had to. Marcia knew a joke makes the hard times easier. What makes you laugh? What does make you laugh?
I'm a nervous speaker, so I always wondered. Mom, can I get an ice cream sandwich? Oh, honey, I don't have enough money today. Marcia would give her last dollar to a friend for any reason at all. She knew the small joys in life are what really matter. Here, take my tips from last night. Go and get some ice cream. It's okay. Marcia knew that to give is to receive. Her friends used to say, the more you share, the less you need. Marcia was a disco girl. She could sparkle with the best of them, and she had a gift for making friends. Like a honeybee dancing from flower to flower, Marcia glittered, spreading joy and happiness to the people around her. Her smile and her laugh were as sweet as nectar. Marcia would go to Raoul's restaurant every day. Someone always made sure she had enough to eat. Then she would boogie on the tabletops. Marcia knew happiness is like fuel. Did you get enough to eat? You're going to need your energy for the rally. When we can find our joy, we can show up for others. Where are we going again? It feels good to show up for people when they need us. The March for Black Trans Lives. Marcia knew that sometimes we needed to take change into our own hands. In the flower district, Marcia would gather fallen blooms and weave them together. You never saw her without that flower crown. Sometimes she'd buy a $5 bouquet, tear it apart, and put the flowers in her hair. That was a lot of money for Marcia, but to her it was worth it. In her crown, Marcia transformed from a plain old caterpillar into a dazzling butterfly. Some people didn't understand Marcia's beauty, but she paid them no mind. She loved the way she looked. Marcia knew that dressing how we please is a radical act. The world would just have to get used to it. Marcia was royalty and the village was her court. We used to call her the Queen of Christopher Street. People were always caught up in her glow, admiring her, snapping her picture. Like a blossom in the sun, Marcia basked in the attention. She knew that when you feel good, you can make others feel good too. To Marcia, all the world was a stage. She sings out. Marcia's message has never been more alive in what we do. If you listen carefully, you can hear her in the flowers and the bees and the butterflies, and the voices of people showing up for each other. I believe in Black trans women.
Can we just say it all together? I believe in Black trans women.
Look at us out here, happy as can be, celebrating each other in all our many shapes. That was the best ice cream ever. People may not always understand our beauty. Wow, your hair looks amazing. But we keep showing up exactly as we are. I want to dance. We too know how to create endless joy as far as the eye can see. That's because of Marcia.
Thank you. All right, it's time for a children's affirmation. Join me in the hand job, will ya? We are Unitarian Universalists, people of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. And now for a children's processional, please, if you are willing and able to make the tonal for the kiddos while we sing them to their classes. Beneath your arms, we shelter you. We warm our hearts as you pass through. May our love guide you as you grow, to help you learn and help you grow. Now is the time in our service where we invite you to share of your treasure or resources with the church. We prefer checks if you will mail them, but if you put cash, or there's also the online option if you will use the QR code to pay online. We have a reading for you today, and I invite you to engage in a moment of stillness, if you would like, while I read to you the Queer Beatitudes by Sister Sweet Suffering Tea, a fully professed sister of perpetual indulgence, also sometimes known by the name Tim Atkins. Please allow the moment to infuse you with energy. Feel the ground beneath you, supporting you. Feel the love in this room, within this community. Blessed are the fabulous, for they remind the world that life is meant to be lived in color. Blessed are the brokenhearted, for they will find chosen family to hold them together. Blessed are the drag queens, the leather daddies, the femmes, the butches, the bears, the twinks, and all beyond and between, for they show us the endless creativity of love. Blessed are those who have been told they are too much, for they will discover they are exactly enough. Blessed are the lovers who kiss on sidewalks, for they make the streets holy ground. Blessed are the ones who glitter, who dance, who vogue, who sing off-key in karaoke bars, for theirs is the kingdom of joy. Blessed are the elders who paved the way, for we follow in the freedom of their work. Blessed are the young ones still figuring it out, for the world is wide enough for all their becoming. Blessed are we, the whole queer family, for love is our birthright, and joy is our inheritance. Amen. Our message this week is love is love, and it is a homily in 3 parts. Part 1, introduction. One of the core messages built into the idea of chosen family is that we have the capacity to choose belonging, compassion, and togetherness, no matter what. This can happen as a natural course of development as our needs grow and complexify and our families of origin can no longer fully or even appropriately meet all of our needs, and for different types of closeness too, such as when we may expand our networks to incorporate friends or lovers. It can happen in response to traumatic conditions, such as when death or dogma or oppression injures or breaks those blood ties, necessitating a replacement by connections of choice. Adoption is one example. Another is when survivors of abuse find each other in the world and gather, providing bonds of loyalty, protection, emotional and material support, and community, whenever those were hindered or missing from families of origin. And sometimes it's a little of all of the above. Relationship anarchy. How many of you have heard the phrase relationship anarchy before? Okay. Don't be afraid of the word anarchy. It doesn't mean what you think it is if you're scared of it. Relationship anarchy is the basic premise that connections of meaning and intimacy can be made anywhere and with anyone where there is interest, capacity, and consent, regardless of mainstream norms. Relationship anarchy states that ethical connection and emotional intimacy or loyalty or mutual aid or any other form of meaningful mutuality is possible between or among people regardless of any details of gender normativity, sexual or romantic orientation, relationship status, etc. The only defining variables are the ones that you set with each other and which are guided by moral and just actions. To be a part of a family of choice means you both have and are the ones who will show up with the shovels or with the bail money or the food or the rent or whatever it is you need without needing to know who or why or what or any of the details, because those relationships are founded on trust and shared experience. Now, I had an interesting exchange with Dixie right before the service that kind of perfectly elucidates the possibilities of those bonds of trust and relationship building, because when we talked about a little bit about the Stonewall Rebellion, June 23rd or 8th, June 28th, 1969, Dixie mentioned something about how well organized it was, and I was like, it wasn't organized, it was spontaneous. It was spontaneous, but the reason it blossomed is because those relationships were there, the relationships of trust. I'm going to get a little bit more into that later. So at its heart, family of choice is about exercising our need for communities of meaning and connection, and understanding that genetics is not the defining metric. You might say that a church could be one kind of family of choice, right? That is, if one is doing church in more than a performative or superficial way. And that's one of the things that I love about UUFS, actually, is the earnestness and investment that is demonstrated with the internal supports of each other, and the willingness to expand and deepen and try new things and learn and grow and do even better. I love this about you all. So, what I'm going to invite you to do now, and this is part of the sermon, we're going to break out into groups of 2 or 3, just where you are, small discussion groups. I'm going to invite you to share for 6 minutes with the following prompt. When has family of choice been a saving grace in your own life? Please make sure everyone who wishes to has a chance to share, and if you don't wish to share, perhaps you will hold a compassionate attention and witness to those who are. Okay? Turn towards each other, beloveds. 6 minutes. When has family of choice been a saving grace in your own life?
Because I don't have
You are
It just was thinking about your serious stuff. It's been 15 years since we
Yeah, yeah. So basically, all my all males.
And that's a weird thing. You started to give it over to that you're now a part of.
I was thinking that actually marriage is one of the things that's
So, you're thinking of, but I'm covering up on all that. So, like, my entire life is based on, like, family, kid family. But the most concrete example is when I came home from the hospital. People like it's not the month that I they did all that based on the relationship with her. For me, this is very dramatic. See all this. But I'm also, like every year, since we left New England, on holidays, we don't go home. So we open our house for people who don't have guests. We've been doing that for. And it's always, that's always nice. We didn't do it this year. We actually got invited to something else for Thanksgiving, but but yeah, it's nice. It's very fun. We've actually kind of translated out into the real world. The jokes It's basically a gumball machine.
Okay, start wrapping up your final thoughts.
church Johnson.
But that idea that could be in this church is also.
Okay, beloveds, come on back. You can stay where you are if you want. We're going to do one more breakout after I share a little bit more on part 2, which is 1, history. So, while queer culture is by no means the owner and author of this idea of family of choice, our modern experience of it here is born out of these roots of necessity. In a biography of Marcia P. Johnson called Marcia, author and scholar Tourmaline, who is the one who wrote our book, our children's book today too, describes Marcia's role in the Stonewall Riot in 1969. The Stonewall Riot, sometimes called the Stonewall Rebellion, is considered to be the birth of the modern LGBTQ+ liberation movement. Now, the Stonewall Inn was a seedy bar on Christopher Street in New York City, where occasionally marginalized and often brutalized gender nonconforming New Yorkers, the usually unhoused and or sex working, transsexual, gay, drag queens and kings and more, could occasionally get admittance and a drink. The bar was also frequently raided by police who would enter the bar to harass, abuse, and arrest anyone who didn't conform to the state-approved binary gender norms legislated at that time. So one night, on June 28, 1969, during just such a raid, the people fought back. Something changed, something sparked. So Marcia P. Johnson was a primary, but certainly not solitary instigator, hurling the shot glass heard around the world. Maybe some of y'all have heard that, the shot glass into a mirror and shouting, "I've got my civil rights!" And the people who heard the raid happening and the violence that began to unfold and into the street, and the ones who knew what Stonewall was, knew what the Stonewall Inn was, and exactly what such a police raid meant to their friends who might be inside, they ran toward the business. They ran toward the mess, ran toward the violence, the fires that were breaking out, ran toward to help, to witness, to support, to bolster, to protect, to get in the fray, to disrupt, to fight back, to be with. So for context at that time, if your gender expression was not cis, binary, and especially if you were also Black or brown, you were deeply marginalized by both mainstream culture and the laws on the books at the time. Does anybody remember what the 3-article law was? I just learned about this. It's the law that was required at the time that you had to be wearing at least 3 articles of clothing that matched your sex assigned at birth, or you could be harassed by the police or arrested. Huh? Yeah.
Police discretion is how that works.
Yeah. So to live as your true self often meant expulsion from home for young people by the ones who were supposed to love us. And physical and sexual brutality on the streets at the hands of the police, the ones who were supposed to protect and serve. Well, many young gay folks, or would-be drag queens, or transvestites, or transsexuals, as they were described or sometimes referred to themselves at the time, since the term transgender was not around and might have applied to some of those folks. When facing homelessness and impoverishment, they would turn to sex work and drug use to cope or fortify their resources and feed themselves and generally just try to survive. So in all of that isolation and endangerment, right? So it's true today too. The Trevor Project has some research on the ways that LGBTQ+ youth, especially Black and brown LGBTQ+ youth, are affected disproportionately and at higher risk for everything from self-harm to depression to suicide and more. And there is a QR code if you're interested, and I can share the link later in the Facebook group if you all just want some time to deal with that. So often, in all of that mess, the only people they had to turn to was each other. And they did. They did. They formed relationships and cohorts and families of support, and while there was by no means an idyllic sense of belonging among them all, many people, ostracized by their family and their nation, found with each other loyalty, belonging, beauty, inspiration, and protection. Marcia and others with years of experience behind them took on the role of mothering and protecting the younger gays and girlies, helping them and loving them and educating them and yes, inspiring them with her sparkle. I will extend this even further and say, the reason hospitality and welcoming the stranger and loving your neighbor were so important, think about Genesis 19, that famous Bible passage, which is horrifying, but we can talk about it in afterthoughts if you like. The reason that loving your neighbor is so important is that if those values of hospitality and radical welcome and inclusion are not defining our basic behaviors towards one another in a society, that society is erodible, rendable, dividable, and unsustainable. Family of choice is one way of reclaiming compassion and belonging in community, in word and deed, and with our breath and our muscle and our grit, when the consequences of late-stage capitalism and a whole bunch of other kinds of oppression are relying on us to be divided and conquered. Breakout 2. That is some heavy-ish that I just named in the room. And this community is already carrying a lot. There's a lot of heaviness in personal lives and in the world right now, and I would like us to do our joys and concerns a little differently today. Turn to your groups. They can be new or they can be the same. Turn to your groups and use this opportunity, if you care to share a little of the heaviness on your heart with people who are intent on compassion and caring for you. If you don't wish to share, you can lean on the witness and the presence of the people with you to just, maybe they can offer you a prayer or some meditative silence if you would like. Feel free to ask for what you need. But let's process some of this grief in the room today. After the breakout, we will still do our collective announcements. I know there's lots of people who are waiting to hear about some things and some joys that will multiply if we share them into the room that everybody gets to enjoy, right? But for now, let's do a little bit of metabolizing the heaviness, okay? Turn to each other. We've got 6 minutes.
Let's listen in here.
It's like a little bit like a sharing time. It's like many joys and so many concerns, but I didn't go through on your part, so lots of names or 40 or 50, whatever.
I didn't know.
To share it in small groups, to get a little bit more support and
That way is pretty heavy.
and it's optional. Like, yeah.
I only take solace in
Yes.
Connections to people you don't expect. Maybe there's some it's good, but on the other hand, it is so from long-term. Yeah,
Okay, folks, come on back to the main
Samara's fault.
How did that feel? Good. Now, because the joys and concerns
are also a part of this community. I didn't want to just eliminate that part. So I really want to invite anyone who still wishes to share a joy for the good of the group or has information you just want everybody to know and you want to magnify your joy and have your sorrows, please do come up and share with the group. Being mindful we are still streaming publicly, so bear that in mind with what you choose to divulge. Does anybody wish to come up and share?
For giving me the opportunity to come to you this morning. A very dear friend of ours who lost his housing last fall and struggled with trying to find a place to stay, a place to rebuild his life, made the choice to give up the fight last weekend. And you know, I've talked about this with some of you in detail. He was a very important part of my life. One of the first people I met here in Statesboro, and he quickly became a part of our family. And you know, Thanksgiving and Easter, weekend movie nights, all of that stuff revolved around spending time with him and having him share with us. And I came to the realization that you know, this grief is in its own weird way kind of a reminder to what a blessing it was to have this guy in my life, and what a privilege it was to be able to make a connection with somebody like that. Anyway, that's what I'm sharing.
Did you say his name?
Tony.
Oh, no.
Tony, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm getting this calendar from my cousin who's been in the hospital for 3 weeks. And he's become a brother through all of this. We've been supporting each other. And I just ask for your prayers. Thank you.
It's so good to see you back, Ren. Y'all may not know this, but Ren was my favorite high school teacher.
Best student I ever had, that's because she named me doing so much.
She was one of the first teachers who ever really believed in me. So those of you who are teachers, never underestimate that. Has anybody in here ever actually gone to Stonewall, made the pilgrimage to Stonewall? Few of us. I was able to get the ability to go in 2016 in December, right after an election we might all remember. And it was on an off night, it was on a Monday night, there were not that many people there. But I discovered something very interesting that you might not know if you have not been recently, is that there is still one person working at the bar who was working there the night of the riot. He goes by the name of Tree Sequoia. That's his chosen name. And he is in his 80s now, but he still works there, and I got to meet him, and he is an amazing man. He gave me just the greatest hug and asked me where I was from, and when he found out where I was from, he gave me commiserations. Because everybody in New York was very worried that those of us down here were going to, have it really rough at that time. And given the things that have happened at Stonewall recently, if you haven't been watching the news, that's been kind of, always in there. And there are things about my trip I can't say this on camera. And but maybe talk back, I might be able to tell people. But I kind of wanted to light a candle for him and for those who are still keeping the flame going at Stonewall. And thank you for bringing up that and the memories of Marcia and all the others that were there that night, and those who are still fighting the good fight now for rights of trans and other LGBT folk. But some really good people that are still working there and keeping that place open. So if you're ever in New York and you ever get to go down to Christopher Street and go in and they make some really good popcorn with M&Ms if it gets later in the night, which was a thing I never had. So really good.
Anyone else?
I don't know. I should say this now.
Will you come up so that we, okay, good, yeah, you're coming.
I light a candle of joy out in the Valentine's season for a wedding that I went to 10 years ago, actually. 10 years ago yesterday, as I remember. And it was a couple that had been together for 30 years. They got married on their 30th anniversary, but they had never been able to have a wedding. And so we had quite a wedding. There was dancing and singing, as I remember, and a wonderful time. And that couple happens to be right here. It's Dixie and
Thank you, Martha. We now come to the conclusion of the sermon. Solidarity means joy, too. One of the undeniable qualities of Miss Marcia Pay It No Mind Johnson, reported again and again by those who knew her and studied her life, was her absolute ability to embody beauty and kindness. She was a source of this liveliness and brilliance, and in fact, claiming her beauty was itself an act of defiance and liberation in a world that seemed committed to erasing or abusing her and others like her. To be so unfailingly committed to the beauty of life is part of what makes her such an icon. To go through hard times together makes celebrating the joys when they do happen and the victories when those happen too. It makes the moments of beauty and meaning and connection that much sweeter. We need each other for this, too. Our final moment for this message isn't a breakout. It's a ritual of joy and gratitude. We'll sing together, and let the song be an expression of your own joy and gratitude. And may we take a lesson from Miss Marcia about her unfailing commitment to beauty as her guiding star towards expressions of love, joy, solidarity, compassion, play, and delight. While we sing, Laura and Dixie will circulate with a love offering to you as gratitude for everything that you have been to them as their spiritual siblings in this chosen family of church for what has now been 40 years of marriage. The core definition of heretic. No, come on. This is it. This is my last sentence. The core definition of heretic is one who makes a choice. So I'll leave you with this thought. When we make a choice to build community, it resources us for the work of restoring justice, nurturing each other through tough times, and yes, deepening our joy through meaningful, intentional action. Blessings. And now I will invite you to sing where you are. You may dance if you like. And there's candy options, including sugar-free candy up here. If you need to come with a sugar-free option, you can come get it. But we're going to sing hymn number 311, Let It Be Dance.
Non-chocolate.
I did tell Laura the more chaotic, the better. So I brought it on us all, I'm sorry. We have come to the end of our service, and it was time to extinguish our flame. Will you join me in reciting our chalice extinguishing words here on the screen? We
extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we bury in our hearts until we are together again.
Announcements. I can start with a couple. We are going to have a brief afterthoughts today because we're also having a community conversation. So afterthoughts will start at about 10 minutes. Let's say quarter till, and we'll run till 12:15, so we'll do a half an hour. And then we'll move right into the community conversation on social justice right after that. I hope you can stay from 12:15 to 1:15. If you have youth, you can also bring them to that meeting if you need to. Potluck is next Sunday.
Yes.
Bring some food, bring your appetite next Sunday. Let's see. Oh, there's a Borough Pride event today at 2. I want to make sure we end the community conversation in time for people to go to the Borough Pride event at 2, if anybody wants to do that. information is online.
Can you give us more context on that?
Oh.
It's again today, it's 2:00 at the Honey Bowen Building, and it's a crafty, come celebrate love.
Yeah, I think figuring out how you can, there's some element of figuring out how you can get more involved in Laura's Pride if you want to as well. So community, I think generally community building, Sherry's one who told me about it. Anything else?
There's going to be a thing on, there's going to be a thing on Saturday, the 28th, I think, called Borough Board Con at the Honey Bowen Building. It's a board game convention that's being run by some friends of mine. And I am going to be there with some other people representing the medieval group, and we're going to be teaching people how to play medieval board games and stuff. There is a fee to get in. It's not very much. It's an all-day, all-ages event and stuff. I can probably throw the event link up on the private, Facebook group and everything if anybody's interested in bringing their family, but it should be a fun day out if anybody's interested in, having something to do with the family or the kids or the grandkids or, whatever, or the adults, So, yeah,
What time is that one?
it's kind of an all-day event. I mean, you don't have to be there all day, but it's, it's kind of just an all-day,
28th, they're also mentioned.
No, that's March.
Oh,
This is,
sorry, wrong
yeah.
one. So, you mentioned it.
Relatable.
So this coming Saturday is the local Arbor Day event. There'll be a tree planting at Marvin Park. If you don't know Marvin Park, it's on Marvin Avenue, not far from Wendy's. A tree will be planted in honor of Mr. Henry Clay, who was one of the founders of the Free Board here and died at 96 recently. And then the next week, our neighbors, Trinity, are going to have a sustainable art event. We're all invited. It's like 10 to 1 on Saturday the 28th.
Awesome. Really sad that I will not be here for that. Okay. Then I will close us with these words as a benediction. Blaise Pascal said, "When I consider the short duration of my life, swallowed up in the eternity before and after, the little space that I occupy and even that which I see, engulfed in the infinite immensity of spaces of which I know nothing and which know nothing of me, I am terrified. And I'm amazed that I am here rather than there, for there is no reason why here rather than there, and why now rather than then." Maria Popova continues to reflect on this quote by saying, "There is no reason for you to be here, to be you, but perhaps what is left in the wake of reason is love, the matter, the substance of us that over and over outweighs the antimatter of chance, to make life tremble with aliveness. Like life itself, love is an affirmation of the improbable, nested, always nested in the possible. May you go out into your week, improbable beloveds, and engage in what connections are possible with each other, with what deepening and joy can be made with each other, and may you be blessed. Amen. See you next week."